Night 3 of MSG New Year's Eve run. Good. Hey guys, welcome back to Wook Plus. I'm Weekend Wook, joined by Kev the Great Went. Just watched a pretty decent show.
Pretty
I'm not going to
decent.
shit on this show. I think there was a lot of great things happening in this show. It's tough because I think there's been a lot of great things the last two nights too, and there's some interesting things to talk about. But I had a fun time tonight, Kev. What'd you think?
I would not put it in the top 7. I don't even know if it'd make the top 10 12:30 shows.
Yeah, I mean, all right. Good, you got that out of the way. Now we can move on and just look at tonight for what it is and not look at it in the historical context of one of the best nights in the band's history. Um, fair, right?
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, no, let's go into the first set. I think again this might have been a tale of two sets similar to yesterday but a little bit reversed. Um, but this first set was something. Jumping in with backwards on the number line, and I think you and we were talking about this at the set break hang with the members. This is the spot it needs to be in. You know, my initial gut reaction when I hear that the guitar strumming and they're about to drop into it is like there's a sigh of like, oh man, we're getting number lined. But then I realized it's not number lined if you're not already in something. It's not a ripcord. It kind of actually set the set up nicely with a lot of energy.
You can't numberline the silence.
Yeah, man. Number line the day.
No, I love it. This is where it belongs. Either this or even a couple times this summer, or once this summer at least, they did it to open the second set.
Yeah.
And that was good. Or in the spring at some point this year they did. I think that's where it belongs because it isn't the abrupt thing.
Right. Right, because playing the traditional intro with the loose guitar strumming into the drop, no matter when you do it, if you're coming out of a song, it feels like a ripcord unless it's starting, unless they stopped cold and gave it a minute to breathe and then went into it. But anyway, I like the way this started. Wolfman's was a little bit plodding, a little bit slower. I didn't mind it though, because I felt like it had like that really fat bass tones. Mike was really just dropping these heavy fat bass in it. And I kind of felt like it was a purposeful slowness to it. Like it had like that kind of feel to it, but it definitely dragged a bit.
Yeah, I felt it was one of several times tonight where Trey and Mike maybe weren't on the same page with what was going on.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think that they were maybe on the same page, but just didn't make the best decision.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it picked up for me, Turtle in the Clouds. I mean, interpretive dancing. This is what I go to see PHiSH for. That was fun. It seemed like they even added a little extra. Like they learned a few more dance steps in the middle of it. So I'm pro Turtle in the Clouds. I feel like they started to get their footing.
Right. The set was locking in. The band was getting comfortable. It was great to see the dance returning because last Turtle in the Clouds, they omitted it, which was kind of a controversial thing. It is weird, though. I just got to say, like, with Mike being super serious and, like, focused and stuff, to see him do the goofy, dance, but, like, with, like, a scowl on. He's like, okay. But Trey makes up for it with this big, goofy smile and just,
And good for
happiness.
Mike for still being willing to go there.
Yeah. Okay, now is where I get to be all fanboy and just gush over this set. This Undermind was fan-fucking-tastic. I think PHiSH was I want to just create a narrative that I have no idea, because it's in his head. But I feel like PHiSH was sitting back like, oh, this isn't really feel like a 12:30 show. We're just kind of like, mailing it in. I'm going to fucking step it up and take control of this set. And he was a man possessed. His playing was so on fire. And then Paige, I think, got the bug from him with the monster organ solo in there. Even Trey, he was doing his little bass synthy, noodling. The whole thing was just really, and I think tribute to, or you got to give that to Fishman on the MVP of the Undermind, but it was really great.
He loves that song. I think it really, when they play that, he's nice. He locks in. And then they bust out the big rock and roll song, which is all energy, all bravado, and good for them. I loved Kill Devil Falls there.
I like getting the big, straightforward rocker, with the Type 1 guitar solo. I don't want it all the time. And like we've had some sets where they do it the whole first set and they do nothing exploratory. And that's not really why we go to watch jam bands, but it is nice to see them every once in a while. And I think it worked really well. And then of course we got another monster PHiSH song and another big song in Fuego. Really liked what they did with this. Kind of really dark and off kilter, and stepped away from the straightforward ripping rocker into the you know the little bit
Mhm.
of exploratory, and then with the touch of bleeps and bloops, not full blown bleeps nor bloops, but I really dug it.
Right. I will say to this point, we haven't beat it backward down the number line. I almost said beat it on down the line. Backward down the number line is blissy, but the rest of it really wasn't. And then Fuego, just in the middle of the set, they threw in the 17-minute Fuego that just broke down, got evil. We're like, yes, the last 2 nights we've done this. This is who we are at this moment. And I think, it's obviously, well, I don't know if it's the meat of the set, but it's a huge, it's like having chicken and ribs. The Fuego was the chicken, and we're gonna have the ribs in a little bit.
Well, I think you got to throw the Undermind in there. I think the Undermind through Fuego was your first course. Then you took a little breather with Train Song, which was cool. Bust Out. I haven't. I don't know. It was actually when the last time it was played, but I feel like I haven't heard that song in a hot minute. But hey, and I got to say, Mike sounded really good. He was on point with the vocals on it. And it was a cool little bust out. And then you got your second course with the It's Ice and the Life Saving Gun. Not a perfect It's Ice, but for such a complicated song was pretty damn good, I thought.
Right, Page Shining had
Yeah.
some vocal in Turtle in the Clouds, had some vocal in It's Ice, took control of it. It was It's Ice. It was not, I don't know. It's a banger that they didn't bang, is what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, but they delivered on it, and they didn't. I mean, maybe that's not a great standard, but they didn't fuck it up. And it's a song that they
Right,
fucked
is
up.
that where we're at? They didn't fuck it
Well,
up.
not with every song, but there are some songs that they start playing, and I still like hold my breath for a minute. I'm like, are we doing this? All right, let's see what happens. And I was like, all right, cool, we got through it. It sounded good, you know.
Right.
So we went from It's Ice into It's Fire with I think the highlight of the set and maybe the
Definitely.
show.
Definitely.
Holy shit, man! Did you know this song could rip like that?
Yes, I told you this. I've told you this since I first heard it. I love it, and it's it isn't an Everything's Right. It isn't The Ocean Is Love. It's Life Saving Gun. It's a little dark. It's a little edgy, little punk, little funk.
At full rage, man. And PHiSH once again stepping up and owning the jam. And it's weird. It was like the 3 steps of recognition. They started playing, and I was like, oh, wait, I know this. What is this? And I was like, oh, it's the new song, Left. And then by like 6, 7, 8 seconds in, I was like, this is really good. And it never slowed down. It never backed off at all. It was just straight ahead. Boom, boom, boom.
It's the new wave of hope.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but maybe. I mean,
It's
in
gonna be
a lot
new.
of ways, I actually like it more because it gets right to it, right? Like Wave of Hope has had some phenomenal jams, like really, really good jams. Maybe 2 of the best jams this year, but this just jumps right into it. I don't know. We'll see if it keeps that up or if it was just happened to be locked in tonight.
Oh, that's going to be a Sphere song. Imagine the visuals on that in the Sphere when they're getting all chunky and woo woo, and it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, Tim. Let's bring this up because we're at set break. Kevin and I were discussing that. I think overall, pound for pound, it is. Yeah, probably. And I think for me, and I don't know, Kev, if you agree. I think a lot of that comes in the second set. I think there was some odd choices made, and but still, listen, weakest of a 3-night run so far, like of the 3 nights, but still a great show. And if I were out there, I would have had a blast. Watching at home, I had a good time, right? Like I'm not complaining. I don't think it was a bad show, but
Many highlights.
Yeah, a lot of highlights, just full cohesiveness, not not quite at the level of the other 2 nights.
They weren't vibing for some of it.
Well, let's here housekeeping real quick, and then we'll we'll get into that thought. Well, we'll keep it super quick. Tomorrow is a big day for the members. We're going to do a set break hang, and then 15 minutes after encore, we're going to have a really big, probably the biggest recap of the year, talking about the gag. I will point out that still no Gamehenge / thesis. Man Who Stepped in the Yesterday songs played. I know that rumor's been hot going through the whole everybody right now, but we'll see. Tomorrow, 15 minutes after encore. Okay, let's get into this second set.
You would have blinked. You blinked, you would have missed the well.
Right, and it's unfortunate because the first half was still the normal length, and that's the part we don't really like. So you got like 5 minutes of the crappy part of the well, and then right when they start to get into the good part of the well, they're like, "Oh, let's go into Tweezer," and you're just like, "All right." I don't hate going into Tweezer in general, as a call, but why go in so early? I think they just jumped the gun on it.
I feel like I was really spoiled with the man version of the well this summer. That anything less than that, I'm like, like somebody on Blue Sky said it was the whelp.
Yeah, and I hear you and I get that, but I don't even think this is a matter of comparing it to anything. Like just in and of itself, there was nothing there, right? And that's not a song that should be cut down like that. No, there definitely were some highlights tonight. Not a bad show. We were just saying out of the three. I see I'm getting defensive now. I'm not getting defensive. Listen, I'm just going to give you our takes. You don't have to agree with us. Let us know in the comments what you thought, and I will let you know here what I thought. Okay.
So the well. Then they did the Tweezer, and we were very excited because you called that. It's set break.
I did. Yeah, I called a couple. I called 2001 and Golden Age and Tweezer, but so Tweezer, everybody assumes is like an automatic surefire jam vehicle and that it's always going to get there more times than not.
2019 one. You're going to get the 2019 every time. You aren't going to get the 2019 every time.
Well, this year, every time they've played it in Alpharetta, in Syracuse, in MSG during the summer, in the fall, like every time they played it, it's been phenomenal. This one, they were searching for it. The on-ramp into the jam portion of it was very standard Tweezer. And I was like, okay, we're here. And then they just kind of sat in that lane for a bit, searching and looking, and it wasn't locking in. And this was one of the few times where I was 100% on board with Trey ripcording out of it, because you could tell that they were on different pages all together, trying to find something, trying to lock in.
Like I said, Trey and Mike were on different pages earlier. It was the same thing there with the Tweezer for me.
Yeah, and they just didn't find it. So they were like, you know what? Let's cut our losses. Twist is a pretty, old reliable. Let's go on a Twist, get them wooing, and see if we could save it. I think they would play it pretty well. I don't know if it quote unquote saved it, but I really liked the Twist jam. I thought the interplay was really nice.
And Twist and Piper are like peas and carrots for me. It's just so nice that they were together. They feel like they belong together, I guess, because they were on the album. They were on the same album, came out at the same time. But the Twist got a little dark. They started to lock in, and I guess Trey still wasn't quite feeling it and went into the Piper. And I think the Piper's where they hit it. And then they ran through the rest of the set, except for one song with...
wait. I don't want to skip over this Twist too much more. Okay. Hold on. Let me go back to this Twist.
Yes.
Because they were locked in, but it felt to me, and here we're going to be hypercritical. I'm sorry, guys. Like, whatever. I felt like Paige, Mike, and PHiSH were locked in, and Trey was locked in with himself, and he was forcing one of these, like, mouth-dropping, like, hood climaxes, with just, like, them screaming guitar, and the rest of the band is playing this offbeat Twist groove, which is dope and usually makes a great jam. But I just felt like Trey was forcing a really big climax over the rest of the band, not really being able to elevate that groove there. And it sounded good, but it sounded kind of shallow and empty a little bit too, because the rest of the band didn't support Trey just, holding that note there for so long.
I feel like Trey was having one of his moments tonight where he had so many songs that he wants to play on this run. he knows he has a set already written for tomorrow night, so he only has tomorrow night. So he was, let me see how much I can put in tonight.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't. All right, listen, that could be it. I think that he was trying to find it and just trying things, just throwing shit against the wall. And some things stuck and some things didn't, and there wasn't a ton of consistency. Here's where, luckily, we did get into a little run that I thought was really locked in. I thought this Piper was smoking fast. I liked, the hints to the Tweezer jam in it, and I felt like finally the band was really locked in. Like they felt comfortable again. It didn't feel like they were searching or trying to do something and unsure of themselves. Did you like that, Piper?
I did like the Piper. I was very happy with that. Of course, we all want the long Piper intro, but that's never happening again. But yeah, I feel like they really did lock into it. And when they dropped into the golden age, that seemed the perfect song. You said it at set break, and it really seemed like that was right for that moment. And they were like, all right, let's throw some covers in. Because I think Golden Age is the first cover they've done on the whole run.
No, that's not true.
Oh, Funky Bitch. They did Funky Bitch, right?
Yeah. And there was one other one. I can't remember. But
we talked about this last night. We did, because there's been one each night.
I was like, what are you talking about?
But for one a show, I mean, usually there's a few, and they did two this one. But Golden Age was not an MVP this summer, but it was a contender. They did a few
great
really
Golden
good
Ages
ones
this year. The Derek Trucks Golden Age was phenomenal,
and the Man one was
and
great
the Man one was really good. Yeah. Good
choice.
I agree. Solid choice. Great groove. A little bit of type 2 in the end, and it set up into a nice big bassy dance party of a 2001, which was fun to watch from home, but had to just be the absolute blast tonight, dancing in the venue.
That's Kuroda's moment.
Yeah, and we didn't get to see that shit.
Right.
When are we getting
They're all up in
CK5
Trey's
cam?
face. They're up in Trey's face. Come
And
on.
it's dark. You can't even see Trey's face or his fingers. Like, I'd get it if like they were lit up, but it was dark.
I mean, Trey's a good-looking man, but and his voice. Would I like some fancy Italian wine? Sure, I'm more into port. I'm part Portuguese, so.
Can we stay focused? All right. Solid Golden Age, solid 2001, solid Sigma Oasis, super tight and small, but soaring. I don't, you know what? Listen, this is a micro jam. Like, it's not even a jam. It's like a guitar solo, right? Like Guitar Hero version of Sigma Oasis. But I resigned myself at this point. I was like, listen, that's the kind of set we're getting. We're not getting a monster Deep Space Nine type of second set. We're getting a fun, dancey, rocking, ripping type of set. And I thought the big soaring guitar in Sigma Oasis was good.
I'm not a fan.
Wait, of this one or in general?
In general, I'm not a fan, and there could have been 1,000 other songs there.
Okay, but that's just your personal taste.
That's just my personal taste. Right. And I mean, it was nothing special. And I couldn't even go as far to say it's one of their bangers that didn't bang, because I'm not even there on it,
Okay, but it was a well-played Sigma Oasis. Like, if you don't like Sigma Oasis, that's fine, but it was a well-played version of the song.
How hard can it be to play Sigma Oasis? It isn't like Rift or something.
Jesus, man. Hold it together. It's the penultimate night. God damn. And then the highlight of the second set, I think, and probably, the highlight of the second set was the Bowie. I think having, and I know we've talked about this, you've said it too, having the bigger build into it would make it chef's kiss and really pull it together and make it perfect. But once they got into it through the end, I think this was a great Bowie, especially in like modern context. We're not looking at the whole life of it. Yeah, I know, but Sigma's such a better song than Evolve. So what the fuck, T?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Wait, how did you get a
No,
point? What did you say that was right?
about Sigma.
God damn. All right, we need people to let us know in the chat who got this right. I think it's me, but
I, you know, I guess a lot of people here probably have never heard me say this before, but probably one of my top 2 or 3 favorite things in all of PHiSH is the end of Bowie. So when they go into it, I'm just like, my moment is coming, you know? And I really feel like Trey gave it a little space. It was about a minute and a half longer than they've normally been giving us. So, you know, they were feeling it a little bit, but they really need to just let that one go again and hit the 20 minutes with it
yeah.
and just celebrate the beauty of the madness that was PHiSH back in 87, 88 when they wrote it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I think what this all adds up to is it was a fun show, but the weakest of the run, but not alarming, right? It's not like, oh no, the shit's in bad shape. Tomorrow's gonna suck. Like, I think it was a
You're
decent
screwed.
show.
Sell your tickets.
Well, I mean, if you want to miracle me, then yeah, tomorrow's definitely gonna suck. But no, I think it's a decent show that got outshined by 2 better shows the first 2 nights. I think is a fair way to put it. And I think tomorrow is gonna be fucking ridiculous. All right, Encore. Slave, great. Love Slave. It's like,
But 8 minutes. Come on.
oh my god, you
That's I
size
guess
queen. Who gives a fuck? It's in the Encore. It's a beautiful slave. It's fine.
it's like opening a bottle of wine too early. You got to let it breathe before you pour it. And they just were busy for more. They wanted the second glass before they finished the first.
Right. And it's an alarming pattern here with Mercy in the first night and Lonely Trip last night and more
Right.
tonight. It's like force feeding us. All right. I mean, I know there's people that love those songs and I don't want to like, but I like the songs enough. I just feel like the encore of 12:30 in New York, it's like, what I don't like this whole point versus point thing. And if we're gonna do the point to point thing, you got to go back and look at the tapes. I accumulated a lot of points against Kevin in the early days. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
man.
know, man. I'm not. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not a
More
huge on the
is
more encore. I think it kind of sucked the air out of the room. It was a a rough way to end.
more. You know where more belongs is Trey doing acoustic shows. Is where that song belongs. That's where it should live. When he does the solo acoustic thing, more fits in there. I know it's huge and everybody has a kumbaya moment, but it it isn't PHiSH to me.
Well, that's because you don't pulsate enough, man. You got to really pulsate with the love and the light. Once you get them both pulsating, you'll get it.
I have trouble pulsating with the light. That's I guess where it is. I like the evil fish.
More, although, so you know what's the thing about more too is the times it has resonated with me. I've been there in person. I think it works way better in person, especially if you're in a like positive vibe crowd and like the people you're around have like good energy. It does seep in, right? Like I've been in those moments where it'll lift me up, and like I might even be like curmudgeon all like, oh, and then like fucking all the people around me are just like, oh, and then it'll lift you up. At home, like listening to it on Couch Tour, it's definitely a weak way to end the set. And the show, I mean. But overall though, I still had a lot of fun tonight. I think there was a lot of decent things that happened here. I think, you know what? I think the beginning of the second set got into Trey's head. There were some weird choices in the jams, and I just don't think they ever fully recovered. But I think tomorrow night's gonna be fucking fantastic. Thanks, Pete. Appreciate it. All right.
Yeah,
Anything
so
else,
what you
Kev?
call tomorrow? Is Game Eng on the table or not?
Yes, it is. At this point, it is.
Right.
Fan service, all the things we heard, like from Ashley and from the New Mexico leak. you know, about you can't miss this New Year's, especially if you're a hardcore fan. Yeah, I got a point. Fuck yeah. Listen, I don't think like if you put a gun to my, I really don't think it's gonna happen because it's just such an absurd notion that they would do it again. But there's nothing been able to like. There's been no Game Henge songs, and there's so many things that like, kind of hint at it. I think it's a chance. There's a chance for it.
My call is if they open with Punch You in the Eye tomorrow night, they will do the Game Henge set.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
So that's a parlay right there for y'all.
And if you guys show up tomorrow night and Kevin's doing the after show alone, that means the FOMO got the better of me and I hitchhiked up to New York with my finger in the air trying to get in the building.
And if Tim does that, I probably have somebody I can bring on with me.
Oh, you could do this by yourself. It's fine.
Yeah, but I'd probably bring my buddy on with me.
All right, let's get out of here. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks, Kev. That was fun.